life's all about choices. Life's all about consequences, good and bad. No, it's all about me. No, it's not. At the end of the day, it is not about you.
The fact that we have interview safe rooms, and it's a great gap that he's identified and closed. What type of decisions do you think have become more complex over the last few years? And where do you think leaders tend to underestimate that complexity?
I think two things come out. And again, technology. I mean, I hate to always go back
But
to
it
tech,
is.
but it is. It's such a huge thing. And also just like, what does a team look like in the future? What does talent look like in the future? What should it look like? Because when you do think about, like, take it back to the staffing firm, when you think about a traditional staffing model, if you really start to embrace AI and agentic and stuff, how far can you take that technology into the process? Do you need the positions that you had before? And I'll give you an example, a technology that can pull requisitions out of a VMS and put them into your ATS. In the past, you had a person, a human, who was doing that swivel chair. You don't need that these days.
No.
So it's one of those, okay, one thing you could potentially take that person, move them more into maybe a recruiter role. But that, to me, that's where the team dynamic and the team model is going to change. That's what the leader need to understand is if you're thinking that it's always going to be the way it was, that it have to embrace the change.
Not the case. No, and I think that leads into how we've talked about technology, and we're going to go there. Here we go. How is AI changing recruitment and the talent acquisition technology landscape? And how do you advise leaders to lead through it?
Conversation that we've seen and that I've seen over the last 12 to 18 months, it's a TA leader or a staffing leader from I am afraid of it to I am getting excited about how it can help me and my teams. I think you've already seen a huge hurdle be gotten over by these leaders who, again, 12 to 18 months ago, they were scared it was going to take their job. And now the conversations that we're having, they're excited about it because I think they've started to see some of the success. So I think that's where I would say lean into it. Ask questions about it. Don't be afraid of it. And, if it's going to take your job, it's going to take your job. I mean, it is what it is, but just lean into it, understand what's in the market, get all the experience that you can and bring it into your team. Yeah, because it can help if you do it correctly.
Well, and, starting small.
Yeah, the Big Bang thing, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, it's
that's terrifying.
It's painful.
But back in the day, that's what you did.
Right.
Back in the day, it's like you just, we'll pick on Workday.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you would just take Workday and just drop it into a global organization. And these days, I think that doesn't happen as much.
No.
Thank goodness. Because that's just, you create so much chaos. And the change management, you can't control that because there's so much happening at one time.
Yeah, I think you're seeing if there is a Workday implementation that's happening that's one or two modules, and then they're expanding out past that.
Or a region here, a region there. And it's like one of those lessons learned. Let's go into this region first, learn, course correct, and then go into.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think, again, it comes back to the sequencing and iterating. But I also think there is this component that we're seeing the other side of AI. There was this fear, is it going to take my job? Now there's this fear, I think, that's existing in who has governance and oversight, and how are we avoiding bias as we use it in the recruitment landscape. And I think that's one of the things that we're currently working. Different states have different laws and what you have to have from a communication and, your policies and how you communicate that out. So it's rapidly evolving. It really is. It's moving very quickly. Where do you think the biggest friction points exist today between external staffing firms, internal TA functions, and recruitment technology?
I think if you take the recruitment technology and the internal teams, we'll start there first. I think a lot of it is the friction points are around, just mentioned it, but legal compliance and that governance. Because when we talk to global heads of TA who are in very, 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 very large organizations spread out across the world, they're wanting to potentially bring in certain solutions or certain modules, and their legal and their compliance are, in one case, they absolutely said no. It was just a flat out period no.
Right.
That's the extreme, but you're just seeing that's the friction point because they're really trying to understand, okay, what do we need to put in place to protect the company if we're going to bring these things in? And I think a lot of that goes back to what you mentioned earlier, having a partner who has done it before sure they can point back and say, you know what, ABC company had the same reservations. This is how we rolled it out.
Yeah.
This is what happened. This is where you're gonna see change management needed. This is just being able to really give a roadmap
Mhm.
of that seems to be helping legal and compliance to feel more comfortable. From a staffing firm perspective, we've talked about it. I think the staffing firm is going to have to figure out how to use it and not lose that human connection
Mm,
because that human in the loop, that is recruiting.
it is.
And you see staffing firms who, and there are a few who have popped up recently, they want to create a staffing firm that's 100% agent, no human from start to finish,
So inbound to onboarding.
100%. And it's like, okay, you test the model, I
Mhm.
mean, like, because there will be a lot of, I think, good things that come out of that.
Mhm.
In my opinion, at the end, it's not going to work. It's just
Unless it's a replacement for the volume game.
maybe,
I mean,
yeah.
all I can think there, but oh,
I don't know because I mean, well, with all the increase in fraud and deep fakes and things like
mhm.
that, if the technology can't figure that out, do we need to almost go back to having a face to face interview?
Huh.
You know what I mean? It's like, do we need to kind of go backwards to correct for what's happening at this point with it specifically to the fake candidates?
It's funny you bring that up. We've talked about it a good bit. We estimate 38% of our inbound is fake, fraudulent, or misrepresented.
That's crazy.
This is crazy. But I have a good friend of mine that has started a company that does safe rooms in metropolitan areas. So that means that I, as a candidate, go interview in this safe room if it's a remote hiring, like
Yeah.
if it's not a local, so that there actually is human identification being validated in the process. The fact that we have interview safe rooms,
That's
and
just
it's a great
nuts.
gap that
Yeah.
he's identified and closed.
Like proctoring
Yeah,
of some sort. I
it
mean, like,
is.
when you do the test remotely,
Yeah.
have someone who sits there and kind of watches you and
Well,
that type.
that's it. He has like screens and video cameras and all of that set up, but it's a safe room that somebody has to physically go into.
Very smart
Great idea, I think. But
investment.
yeah, absolutely. So, for leaders that are trying to balance speed, quality, and cost, where does contingent recruitment create the most value today?
Really thinking through the positions that you need and figuring out, do you need that full-time employee?
Hmm.
Or can you partner, on a contingent basis? Or can you partner on a consulting basis?
Hmm.
Or can you partner on a fractional type basis? And really understanding how to leverage the contingent workforce.
Hmm.
Because the contingent workforce has changed a lot over the last, 5, 10, 15, definitely 30 years, as to what makes up the contingent workforce. There's so many options out there of how the talent wants to work that falls into the space.
And outside of the traditional model,
100%.
right?
They're just trying to, again, it goes back to the leaders or the in-house hiring leaders really understand what are all their options and then figuring out which one would work best for me.
Mm.
Back in the day, long time ago, one of our clients, they decided to take a light industrial client, take the entire level role and outsource it to us because they knew that that was turnover and everything happened at that entry point. So if they could leave them on our payroll and kind of see who
Mhm.
worked out and who liked the company, liked the environment, then you can move them into a full-time role. Again, that was probably 20, 25 years ago, but it was a way of thinking very much out of the box.
Yeah.
And it helped them from a turnover perspective because they didn't bring people on board full time who in 2 months didn't like it. So they left. It was kind of that period of both of them, both the talent and the buyer understanding it's a good fit for you.
Yeah, and I think that leads into what are companies getting wrong when they decide between contract to hire, or direct hire models? Where do you advise organizations when they're looking at those three options and partnering with a firm to really consider like what's the right path? Because it's not one size fits all.
No, I think a lot of it has to do with a company's internal structure.
Mm,
Like what's the culture of the company?
hmm.
A lot of it also has to do with the position that you're hiring for. Do you need that position full time? Or could it be more of like a part time type of role?
Hmm.
Um, is that position that you're hiring for one of the that is changing so fast that it's like, okay, do I bring someone in on a contract basis? Because I know in 6 months to 12 months, this position is turned on its head.
Right.
That's also should come into play because everything is changing so much. The
Hmm.
technology is changing. The position that you hire for today could be totally different in months,
Yeah.
totally different.
or next week even.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we joke, but it's just the reality of
But that's a good way to leverage the whole contingent workforce is to say, okay, I think I need this position. Do I really need this position? Bring in a contractor. And I mean, like, let someone come in and kind of get you through it. And also perhaps teach your team additional skills that your team doesn't have.
Mhm.
And then if you really need that role firm, then cool, bring them on board.
Yeah, you can convert them.
Yeah.
Budgets come out of two different, capital or op, depending on how you're going about hiring it. If it's project or allocated headcount for the year. We like to work with mid-tier organizations, a lot of which we target that have sort of ambitious growth goals, but generally have lean internal TA. What hiring strategies do you think tend to work best for companies that are in that stage?
I think a company excuse me, in that kind of lean, smaller stage, and they need additional, let's say they need additional help on their team, look fractional. But to me, fractional is kind of a perfect spot for the small to medium sized company. This week at the conference, we'll have a whole section on nothing but fraction because it's growing so much. You're seeing so many people who, have 20 to 30, 35 years. They've left corporate
Mhm.
or corporate's left them. And now they're like, you know what? I'm going to get paid for my expertise. And they're hanging their shingle as fractional. So that's a good thing to consider leveraging.
And that'd be like a fractional CFO,
Yeah,
CMO, CTO, CIO, CISO, anything along
100%.
those lines where you don't have the funding, but you still need expertise and you need them for a period of time during the week or the month.
Bring them in. There's a very defined, they're with you, let's say 5, 10 hours a week. There are particular projects that they're involved in. Also, I think the difference between a consulting engagement and a fractional, typically the fractional leader is going to be a bit more in the,
Mm,
whereas a consultant, it's a defined engagement. I'm going to get you from A to B. And then if you want me to get you from B to C, that's going to be a whole other engagement.
right.
But if you have a fractional leader, they're going to get you from A to B to C to D to E, 5 to 10 hours a week, but they get more leads.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the difference between bringing in a consultant who's going to help you to get to a certain point,
Hmm.
but that fractional is going to be the weeds with you, whether
Mm.
it's leading the team or helping to build the team. But that's where the fractional can help us.
Yeah, I like that. We've used some fractional here internally as well, and it's been a huge benefit for us. Um, do you think that mid-sized companies, their leadership, when they're looking to build a more scalable hiring engine, is it easier for them to build that in-house or external or both?
I think I would say both.
Okay.
I would say leverage the talent that's out there if you don't need to bring them in full time. Like if you had a uh, CMO that was
Hmm.
full time and you needed to leverage and build out that team, do you really need to bring the team on board full?
Okay.
Or could it be, or that from that perspective, you're going to bring in consultants or contractors to help you do certain projects?
Hmm.
But I think both.
Okay. I agree with that. I think, hiring strategies is really about access to the right talent at the right time and knowing how long you need to keep that talent.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm hearing what you're saying, it's consider all of the options that you have at your disposal, whether that's fractional contract, contract to hire for both you and the consultant, or if it's, you need this person and you need them for years to come, give them skin in the game.
Yeah.
Direct hire model works there. So I think it's a really good point that when we look at how our hiring has changed, but yet for enterprise organizations, the traditional still is at play. It really is.
And so much of that seems to be built into the system.
Yeah, the way we've always done
Right.
it.
So it's interesting to see some of the bigger companies who are now starting to break that and
Mhm.
starting to kind of break that norm to say, okay, we've always done it this way, but we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is a result of the market that we're in, the
Mhm.
way talent's wanting to work and technology. They're being forced.
Well, and I think that's interesting too. I think about staffing and staffing firms in general. We are what I'd say is almost leading indicators
Yeah.
for in-house TA, not only on the innovation side, but just where the industry and the talent ecosystems and the pipelines, how they move and how they evolve over time. And so again, it comes back to why it's important to have a good partner in place that can help share some of those lessons learned as you are building out your in-house infrastructure.
That's the place you want to get, and you know this better than me. That's the place you want to get with a client, whether it is an end client, whether it's an MSP partner, but is in that sweet spot where they look at you as a true partner. They know that they can come to you They give me the insights, or you might not even, they don't even have to come to you. You'll just give them everything that you're hearing because you're a true partner. That's also the difference between transactional staffing firm,
Mhm.
true partner
Yeah.
who is invested in that company.
Yeah, relationships matter.
100%.
People buy from people that they know and trust.
And the relationship, we were talking about this 20, 30 years ago, but almost the definite relationship in staffing has changed so much, evolved because to be a true partner these days, you have so much more to give to that client
Yeah.
compared to what we did, back in the day.
I agree, but I still think it's won and lost with phone calls and handshakes.
Totally agree. Face to
Yeah, those still matter. All right, let's talk about uncommon on purpose. So here at Tier 4 Group, we talk a lot about uncommon on purpose. When you hear that phrase, what does it mean to you as a leader?
I think it means being unique.
Uh-huh.
I think it means being different.
Uh-huh.
I think it means kind of maybe choosing the path that others haven't chose, wouldn't choose because maybe it's not the easiest path.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're not going to go down a path just because it's easy. We're going to get on the path because we truly believe in that path.
Right.
And if it's the wrong path, that's cool. We don't be afraid to fail. Fail fast, get back up,
Yep.
pivot a little bit and go a different direction. But I think that it definitely comes from, you
Okay.
have to have leadership who is very supportive of like even what you all are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it means just being different, totally different.
So I think that's a great lead into the next question, which is what do you do differently from most executives intentionally that has contributed to your success?
I don't know that it's different for most executives. I very much believe that you trust your team, you bring your team in to do a job, and all kind of what is that saying? All ships rise together or sink together.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all in this together. The cheesy sounding, but there's no I in team. That's really true. I mean, there is no I in team. There's no I in leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You're only as good as your team. Your team's only as good as the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's where every leader should be. But you see some leaders who I think kind of get off course and they're like, no, it's all about me. No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it is not about you.
Mm-hmm.
It is about you team together and what you all will do together or how you fail together.
Mm.
And I think a lot of leaders it
Yeah, we forget that.
very much.
How do you run a meeting?
Makes me mad. Most of them are like on teams.
Yeah. Well, that's a virtual meeting.
Yeah.
Still running it.
It's really asking for feedback. So like is bringing out a topic, just letting the team talk about it. Like just drop it and be quiet. Let the team talk about it. Let the team kind of dig into it and see where that conversation.
Mm.
Again, I don't think the leader always has to be who is talking.
Mm-hmm.
They should step back. Let the team
Listen.
100%. That's just like in sales. A good salesperson does not just constantly talk. You ask the question, sit back, be quiet, and let the client or whoever, let them guide you as
Yeah.
to what they want to talk about and where they want to go. You will learn more doing that than you'll just peppering them with questions.
I heard something, and this is a struggle for me, Ray. And it says, um, if you're talking, I'm selling.
Mhm.
If I'm talking, I'm losing. So to your point, like we've got to be asking those questions and, listening because then we will know where the
100%.
the answers really are. How do you build culture?
I think culture is definitely built around company values and like what makes a company.
Mm-hmm.
We had a conversation with a partner at an event we did, and they're an assessments organization, and we were talking about soft skills. And one of the questions from a TA leader was, if we don't really know what soft skills we need, where do we start to try and develop them?
Mm.
And our partner said, look at your mission and kind of mission, vision, values.
Yeah.
So to me, the culture kind of comes from some of that. What do you want to be as a company? What do you want to be as an organization?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start to really drill down on that, what do you want to be as a, which I mean, that's a personal thing that you really need to, I think that's a journey you have to figure out on your own. But what do you want to be as a team? Do you want to be the team that everyone within the company knows they can come to and they know that you will, help them as much as you can? It's all about, and I go back to that rising, sinking together. It's not just my team, that's your team. This is what we do. No, we're all in this together. To me, that's culture.
Yeah. Rowing in the
100%
same
the
direction.
same direction.
Last question on leadership. What's something about your leadership style that people might not expect?
Again, I feel like everyone who knows me, I mean, I'm pretty much what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of unexpected that you get from me.
Yeah.
I don't deviate very much from what you see, but I believe everyone is an adult. I believe that you hire someone into a job, whether they have the experience or not. You know what the job is that has to get done. I think life's all about choices. Life's all about consequences, good and bad. So I mean, choose wisely. But again, at the end of the day, everybody's an adult. We all make our own choices. If you come into a role and you come into a team and you know what's expected, you know where we have to get at the end of the day, and you make choices that maybe are not the wisest choices. There are consequences to that.
Yeah.
Um,
And you have to hold them accountable.
100%.
It's hard.
It's hard, but I think a lot of times the accountability can be a learning in a moment
Hmm.
for both the team as well as the leader. Like if a leader goes into a situation they've never experienced that before, and I'm sure you've had this, you go into a situation, you're like, I never had to have this conversation
Yeah.
before. And it's like you're terrified. You're like, oh God, what if I say the wrong thing? But once you've had it once, it gets easier to have it the second time if you have it.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a leadership journey.
Not only say the wrong thing, Ray, but also be uncomfortable with silence.
Oh, yeah.
Counting in my head.
Just to kind of sitting there and you're like, oh my God, somebody say something.
Yeah. Can't be me first. Cannot. All right. I want to move into our top tier 10 questions. So these are just rapid fire, first answer that comes to mind. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a stumper at you because it's my favorite one. So I like to start with this one. It's on the next page. If you had a walk-up song, what would it be?
A Lie by Empire.
Oh, I love it. That's so cool.
Yep. And I'll send you the link to it afterwards.
Yeah, we can put that in the show notes. My other favorite question that's on this list: aisle or window?
Aisle.
Always aisle.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, always aisle. No, we've had some folks say when they're going to Las Vegas, they like to be in the window so they can see the Grand Canyon.
True.
So I get that, but still.
And there are certain, if you've ever been to Palm Springs, the takeoff and even better, the landing, I'm coming home, flying into Palm Springs is absolutely the most beautiful thing you'll ever see in your entire life.
Okay.
The mountains and just the approach into PSP, absolutely stunning.
Okay. Add that to the bucket list.
But being on the window, but
I gotcha.
aisle.
Night owl or early bird?
Early bird.
Okay. How early?
4:30.
4:30. Oh my gosh.
Always have probably an hour to 2 hours for the other folks in the house get up.
Yeah.
Kind of my time. Watch a TV show or just whatever, but it's just my time.
Yeah.
Still dark outside. Get to watch the sun come up, and that's the day.
Okay. So you're a jet setter. So this is a question that I'm really curious about. Favorite way to spend a Saturday?
I volunteer at the Palm Springs Animal Shelter. I walk big dogs. When I say that, we have big dogs, we have little dogs. I walk big dogs, and that is probably my favorite way to spend a Saturday is to go up there and just take the dogs out on the track.
Okay.
Get lost because it's just you and that dog,
Yeah.
and that dog is so happy to be out and with someone, and it's just heaven.
Yeah. Unconditional love from the dogs.
100%.
Worst advice you ignored?
Going to say, oh,
I
I think the first
Mom!
the first position I ever took with Randstad when I first started years ago, anyone coming into Randstad back in the early 90s would have to go spend a half a day with an industrial psychologist. That was their intake process at the time. And everything that came back on me, don't hire this person. Just because I just didn't fit into there. And, the leader made a choice and took a chance on me. But yeah, don't go into sales was probably the piece of advice that I heard. Thank God.
What's overrated in corporate leadership?
Boarded. I think
Tread lightly.
I think a lot of times in corporate leadership, there's just this feeling of almost entitlement.
Yeah.
And once they get to a certain level, a lot of leaders feel like that they've earned this spot and they're above people, but you're not. You're really not. Yeah, I think that's the thing.
What instantly earns your trust in someone?
When someone asks me a question, doesn't start speaking about themselves right off. And I'm not a question about me. You don't need to know about me, but a question in general.
Yeah.
And doesn't just go straight in with talking about themselves.
Wow. A book, podcast, or idea that changed how you lead?
There's something, I'll mention it, and I know enough about this to be dangerous, but I find it fascinating. Called Ikigai.
Ikigai. Okay.
Ikigai.
Okay.
And it's kind of this concept of you find just kind of this perfect sweet spot between, what you enjoy getting paid for, what the world needs, what you're good at, and what you love. And so you just kind of find that perfect little sweet spot, and that's happiness.
Mm,
And so you explore all those things to change yourself and understand what it's about. And then once you kind of get to that place, know where that perfect happiness spot is.
mm.
So again, I know enough about it.
Last
Yep.
one. If you could build your personal advisory board from anyone, past or present, who would it be and why?
Barack Obama,
Okay.
Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
That tells you everything about me. And you.
And Yoda. Have you seen the new movie?
Yes.
Okay.
We saw it last week.
Good.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to see it.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, those three.
Love it.
Yeah, those are my three.
Very cool. I'm assuming you've read their books then.
Yes. Well, audio.
Audio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
That's anytime traveling, I'll usually download 1 to 3 new books and we'll try and get through them.
while you're traveling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Great advice.
Just kind of keeps me
Constant learning.
but it also keeps me just kind of in my own little world, no matter where you're at. Kind of you attach to, like Obama, he read his, Hillary read hers. You just attach to their voice, and it just kind of keeps me feeling like I'm back home.
No, Yoda doesn't have one.
No.
Mm.
No.
Could you imagine the audiobook of that one? The parables that he would talk in? Oh my gosh. All right, Ray, if someone listening today is trying to reach their own next tier, what would you tell them?
I think it would wrap up a lot of what we talked about. Either be curious or stay curious. Don't be afraid to fail. Enjoy every moment of the journey. Everything that you do, life, your career, the people you meet, the people you interact with, the first time you get to go on a business trip, the first time you get to go out of the country, the first time you sit in first class, the first time anything, just truly, truly take a moment to soak that in.
Yeah.
And don't take that for granted.
Yeah, it's easy to.
Very. And then, anyone who's looking to, I love this phrase, kind of step into your greatness.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like really step into it and don't be afraid to,
mm,
because I mean, everybody's going to make mistakes, but go full throttle.
yeah. Step into your greatness.
Yes.
Wow. That's powerful.
I love that.
Really powerful. Ray, I can't thank you enough. I know you're in town this week and appreciate you coming into the studio to do this in person. We joked about this being new because all of these that you've done have all been virtual.
Yes.
And
You for me.
very grateful to have met you a couple of years ago. You've been a really good friend and a great mentor. I am super privileged to be a part of TALiNT Partners and one of the founding members and help you grow that platform and be part of a community, and really excited about the events that are in front of us here this week and what you have planned for the rest of the year. You're an advocate for not only staffing firms, but for in-house talent acquisition, for global workforce solutions management. That cannot be understated how big of a deal that actually is. When we talk about Spherion and Randstad and Manpower, you've been there and done it. You've seen the industry evolve over 30 plus years of it. And I'm grateful to be connected to you and the wisdom that you shared here today and some of the vulnerability that you've offered up. We really appreciate it and just want to say thank you for your time and look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate making time for me while I was in town.
It worked out perfectly for
this was super
It
cool.
really did. The timing worked out perfectly. I'd like to thank our marketing manager and our engineer, John, for coming in today on a Monday to help us record this.
Thank you, John.
But Ray, looking forward to the events this week, and just wanted to close out by saying thanks again for your time and lending your talents to us here at the Next Tier podcast. Success isn't accidental. It's uncommon and it's on purpose. Thanks for tuning into this episode of The Next Tier. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next time.